let's begin the wisdom session. So let me share my screen. Very hope you're seeing my screen. All right. So we were we are going through this the life of Sri Paramahamsa Yogananda ji. We are gonna refer forward as Guruji, right? So Guruji and Paramahamsa Yogananda ji. So this week we are gonna talk about it. And today we are gonna talk about in his own experience what he called the consciousnesses. So before that, very important to understand what is this consciousness and where you will first experience it, not even related to meditation, right? When you close your eyes, anytime when you close your eyes, what remains is consciousness, because the major input to your consciousness, awareness, where mind is also attached, is your eyes. When you close, what remains is the consciousness, awareness, the knowing whatever is happening on the body, in the mind, and through senses in the surroundings. That is the state of consciousness, right? That is what is the consciousness what we are talking about. But that consciousness is at the body level. It is there, very ordinary consciousness. But with that consciousness, we do a lot of stuff. And believe me, we don't know much also. In that consciousness also, there are so many things happening, but we don't know. So our consciousness is not strong enough. So that's what it is. So let's talk about that consciousness today. And today I explain what is consciousness. Very simple, right? We don't have to really complicate it. So next slide. This is what Yogananda ji said. It's a divine awareness. He calls it divine awareness, underlying all creation, the essence of soul, the soul's essence, to know everything, knowing, and the bridge between human perception, which we do it through our mind, day in, day out, and the God. He keeps calling the cosmic consciousness, the spirit as God. So, God, spirit, cosmic consciousness, all are same. He taught that true consciousness is not limited to the brain or senses. So, what brain or senses gives you, it's only an experience, but it is not true consciousness. It is meddled with so many things, but it is that infinite intelligence. What is intelligence? Intelligence is not only the inputs what you get from your senses, which is giving you the knowledge, the external senses, touch, feel, right, smell. There is also a super higher intelligence from where we get input, like intuition, like the larger mind, right? There are a lot of other inputs which we don't perceive easily. That is infinite, that we don't experience properly, right? Because we are just experiencing the bodily consciousness, expressing itself through the individual. But this body is also required to express what intelligence you receive in that awareness to express itself. That is what. So if you he further described the reflection of God's omnipresence. See, God, he repeats it many times, but it is nothing but the all pervading awareness. Whatever is there, it is within your awareness. That is what is God. And within that soul, which is individualized, right? Which is us in this body. That is the reflection. So, what is that main, the cosmic consciousness, is also present in our body, which we are not aware of. So, that's why While meditating, we'll start from bodily consciousness, from breath, which is connected to the body. It is the inner witness. Awareness is a witness which perceives thoughts, emotions, and experiences. The experiences what we get from both senses and not from the senses. In other words, from the mind and from not from the mind. But yet, this consciousness is not bound by them. And that is what is the eternal reality. You are that supreme consciousness. But what all other things like matter, this physical world, are a temporary expressions of that cosmic consciousness, which will come and go, which will take birth and will die. So that is what, according to Guruji, the consciousness is. Your consciousness gets a constant, inputs from various things in the surroundings, including your senses, right? So let's go to the next slide and see. So where you are at the individual consciousness material. That gives you knowledge because with the senses, we get the inputs and the ego is formed and we learn lot of things of this world on this earth. So that is also required. But we are so entangled in this particular awareness only, very limited to the body, senses, and ego, that we don't know there is further. This particular consciousness can be expanded. So what happens when you meditate? When you meditate, you bring your mind to your breath, a singular object. Thereby, all other things which is in your awareness fades away slowly. And for some people who are very sincere, that will disappear. That senses will be withdrawn. And some senior masters who have been meditating for a long time, the breath, what you are actually observing, will also disappear. It is as good as you are not breathing. And that is when the consciousness, because there are no other inputs, your consciousness starts expanding. It gets pulled towards that particular aspect where there is a larger, higher intelligence. So it will start expanding. Remember, as long as we have this body, the consciousness expands, but the center shifts when you are absolutely with your breath and breath disappears. Even breath is not required. That is when the expansion starts. From your body, the expansion goes to the next level, which is individual consciousness again, which is astral. Right? Astral consciousness is you will get the energies what you feel, right? The slight vibrations. And some of the emotions and other things beyond physical, which is still in your mind, you will feel that, right? That is a different frequency. We call that as Paramahansa Yogananda ji calls it as astral consciousness. And this will happen only when you are absolutely anchored with your breath. And after some time, breath will also go away and your consciousness expands. And the center of your consciousness will start shifting from your body and mind to astral, right? So that is when, if you look at all PSSM master would know, when that consciousness shifts from body to the astral, then the astral travel is possible because the shift has happened, right? But it is an expansion, you still have body. And when you continue being in meditation, because there is an inner breath which is goes on, right? And you continue be with that, and you cannot reach that inner breath until you completely, fully, sincerely observe the physical breath, right? You cannot reach that. And when you are with that breath, that consciousness further expands, where the seed level thoughts, ideas, the creative level of ideas will be there, right? Present. We call it as transcending consciousness. This is when the border between your body, mind, astral will come. We call it as causal consciousness. This is what Guruji used to call. And we continue being in that consciousness. Now everything else disappears. Being in that consciousness continuously. That is when the infinite expansion of consciousness begins. The limit what you have to consciousness, everything which should come to your awareness will start coming into you without you being attached to it. That is when that consciousness expands to super consciousness or a cosmic consciousness, where you know everything what happened so far, you know what is happening in the present moment, you know what may happen in the future. That is where the creative consciousness will reveal the blueprint why you are in this body. So, for all PSSM masters, all meditators, this is what should be the goal. Be very sincere. So, you should not expect anything. The consciousness expands automatically, and the center keeps shifting. So, when you go very deeper, the center first shifts from material to astral. And you will spend sometimes months together, some people years together doing astral travel, right? Getting into the astral consciousness, because there are so many worlds where you can go and visit. So read this book, you will understand what I meant by astral travel. And then when you are done enough, when you have known enough, then again the center shifts to the transcending consciousness, causal consciousness. You will know the seed thoughts which is keeping you in this body, both in astral body and in physical body, gross body, and then finally super consciousness. So once you achieve super consciousness, it will take lot of efforts and sincerity to be in that consciousness and operate from that consciousness, both downwards as well as within that super consciousness. So this is what is all about. This is what Guruji calls it as union, right? Realization means the universal consciousness, the cosmos consciousness. So very quickly, I think I know we already at the hour. How is that in the book, right? Paramahansa Yogananda ji explained the consciousness is experienced, right? Let's look at it. So one of his childhood days, right, when he was a boy, he had a striking childhood vision where his consciousness, he might be in a spontaneous meditation, his consciousness had a shift. I call this consciousness as consciousness at the periphery. You are not in that completely. You are between body and the next level consciousness. So this is what he explained, right, at this time. This will happen for many of our masters when they begin their meditation. So this is what, in his own words, I will read out. When he was meditating, he went deep and he saw radiant figures of Himalayan rishis and saints sitting and meditating. And he explained this way. The saints appeared in vivid light, their eyes gazing at me with compassion and wisdom. I felt their blessing pouring into my heart as if they were silently assuring me of their guidance. So, masters, these things will happen when you sincerely do meditation every day. So, these gurus are giving you that experience, they have seen it. So, we can also have this experience. This is one important experience, the beginning of his boyhood, right? That is when he experienced it. But this is a periphery, this is just achieved by observation alone. Nothing more than that. With just observation, what we are doing every day, he was able to get this vision. I call this as a slight contact with, just a touch to that cosmic consciousness, revealed his blueprint of the soul, that he has to go to Himalayas, he has to go to distant places to spread meditation. And this is a direct experience. If you do meditation, you will get direct experience. You will not get direct experience by just listening to others' experience, or someone else meditation will not give you the experience. So keep meditating. And why we have to do it? Because this is where the healings takes place. As you touch the cosmic consciousness, it will remove all the obstacles in your life, both physical and mental and spiritual. We will talk about another one, right? This is when he was with one of the great masters, Mahendranath Gupta, right? He is a disciple of Paramahamsa, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. So, Paramahamsa Yogananda's life took him to many quests. He went on to many quests. He had that inner urge to progress in spirituality, meditating daily. And the guidance is he met with so many masters, getting their first hand experience and motivating himself to go on this particular path. That's why satsanga is important. Satsanga means the people who are doing meditating every day, you have to be with them. Listen to your experiences, motivate, right? Motivate yourself, right? So this is what happened, right? He was earning, he wants to know what is this cosmic consciousness. He will call it as God, right? Don't get confused. So this is what happened, right? He was standing on a wooden bridge, both of them. They have came out of from some show, right? And then he was with this master discussing various topics. And this is when we call him as Sri M, right? Mahendranath Gupta. This is when what it happened, right, to him. This is another experience, the cosmic consciousness experience, right? Where he said his sense of identity was no longer there. The ego consciousness gone to a body, but embraced the circumambient atoms, everything what is in the consciousness. People on distant streets seem to be moving over my own remote periphery. Everything is coming to his awareness. The roots of plants, trees appear to be in my own consciousness. Everything in the creation starts appearing in his consciousness. The whole panorama of creation spread before me. This is what happened. So, what is the understanding here? When the consciousness expands, you will know that soul is not limited to the body, it is much beyond that. And consciousness is what reveals that unlimitedness. A simple practice is enough to have this experience, masters, to have this expanded consciousness. But you have to be absolutely sincere, following the instructions what we do every day. Be with your breath, right? That is the vehicle which will take you to this expanded consciousness. And satsanga. Paramahamsa Yoganandaji met many masters, and those masters inspired him to be on this path. There were many obstacles, but this satsanga helped him. So be with all like-minded people who are meditating, and that will help you in expanding. So one last experience. This is the experience where the guru of Paramahamsa Yoganandaji bestowed on him. This is when he was vainly trying to meditate with lot of agitations in his mind. He spread a mat, sitting on a balcony, but the master Yukteswar Giriji, the Guruji of Yogananda, sensed that he cannot meditate. So he calls him over to the outside balcony, just like a veranda, right? And he says, you know how you can meditate with this agitated mind? You cannot. Then he protests, I was sincerely trying to meditate, but you just intervened. I said, no, I will today give you an experience where you will know and touch that cosmic consciousness, and you motivate to achieve that consciousness level. So, in his own words, this is what happened on that balcony when he struck his Anahata chakra, which relates to this consciousness, right? To all other things. Gently, then suddenly his consciousness gets expanded. That is because of the blessings of the Guru. And this is what is his experience. My body became immovable, rooted. It settled. The mind and body settled. Breath was drawn out of my lungs. Breath disappeared, not required. Soul and mind instantly lost their physical bondage and streamed out like a fluid piercing light from every pore. My sense of identity was no longer narrowly confined to the body, but embraced the circumambient atoms. And this time it expanded more fully. But this is what Yukteswar Giri said. Even this experience cannot be taken as intoxication, right? You should be able to go at will to this cosmic consciousness and come back. You should not get attached to anything. Attachment to these kinds of experience also will not take you, because it is infinite. Enlightenment is infinite. So this is what is the understanding. Human consciousness can expand infinitely until it merges with the cosmic consciousness, which we call it as Samadhi. And you are very much there. You are there having the individual experience and also the cosmic experience. Sincere, regular practice will certainly lead to attain this state. People meditate, giving up their sleep every night. I know some of the BSSM masters who do that. The people who have truly experienced it will never tell you this. The reason is they know direct experience is the only way to know, right? And this is a scientific way of doing it, yogic science, which we are going to talk about little bit tomorrow, right? The Kriya Yoga, the Guru disciple relationship. So with this, this is how you do it, right? Simply meditate daily. Soul loves to meditate, it wants to observe. We only make it, work this, work that, and then go away from this expansion of consciousness. That is where the spirit rejoices. That is the greatest joy. Meditation allows withdrawal of energy from the senses. As you anchor your focus on breath, it will quieten the restless mind, and the awareness starts opening to the subtler realms which you don't know. Daily practice helps shift. It expands and the shifts from material consciousness to higher states of astral, causal, and ultimately cosmic consciousness. And this is the path which we should go. And why? I will tell you tomorrow. Why we have to do it? Are we not happy with material benefits? Right? So we are going to talk about it tomorrow. So with this, I will stop. Thank you so much. So we will talk about more about this tomorrow and the coming days. Thank you.